Happy Friday, folks. Oh, my goodness. That's what I'm talking about. Happy Friday. Good morning. This is Michael on the graveyard shift in the wee hours in the dead of night with your daily trivia question. Once again, trying to wrap up this week and get ready for a gorgeous weekend. Well, we might have some rain, pop-up storms, all that good stuff, but it's still going to be the weekend nonetheless. So let's get to Friday and let's get through it. The answer to the previous trivia question was none other than the political concept of neutrality and Woodrow Wilson. This is interesting to research. Great piece of American history. You know, usually my research questions in my research, World War II and Franklin Roosevelt's administration gets the lion's share of stuff, of attention and so forth. This was interesting to research because it deals with World War I and President Wilson. So by 1914, Americans were watching the events unfold in Europe with horror as nations repeatedly took up arms against one another. Remember, many in the United States at the time felt very strong ties to Europe. Remember, this is a country of immigrants, always has been really, but even more so during this time period. And even though that's the case, they didn't want America to rush into war either and waste lives on conflict that many considered pointless. This was the majority mindset in the country at the time. This coincided with Wilson's position on what was known as neutrality, which he formally declared on August 14th of 1914, which was the focus of the trivia question, by stating, quote, "The United States must be neutral in fact as well as in name during these days that are to try men's souls." That was a quote from his speech. Wilson believed that the United States could actually benefit both economically and politically from the stance of neutrality and impartiality towards the continued European conflicts. And this was so he thought we could provide food and supplies to the warring countries and eventually play peacekeeper. In other words, diplomacy, something our nation has built a foundation on. He would even be reelected in 1916 by developing this political platform and agenda based on these beliefs. However, things changed. Things took a turn for the worse very quickly. It didn't take long for public opinion to shift away from neutrality. Germany had already sunk the Lusitania, if you remember from previous trivia questions and from your high school history classes, I'm fond of saying. And this was in May of 1915. This killed 128 Americans. By January of 1917, this is after Wilson had been reelected, Germany had already resumed unrestricted submarine warfare, and this would result in the sinking of multiple merchant ships. And those, of course, were destroyed along with lives as well. What also became known, another factor, what became known as the preparedness movement. This was a movement led by former President Theodore Roosevelt, was growing, gaining strength. This was rapidly shifting public opinion. This the basic theme of this was there's nothing wrong with being prepared and we need to do so. Finally, again, if you remember from previous trivia questions in your high school history class, the British intercepted what was known as the Zimmerman telegram. And this blatantly offered U.S. territory to Mexico in return for joining the German cause. Not only was it kind of put out there in sloppy fashion, but when it was discovered, Germany doubled down on the whole thing and said, yep, you caught us. We did it. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So all of these things forced Wilson to kind of move away from his initial concept from 1914 of neutrality. U.S. intervention ultimately became inevitable, and by April of 1917, Wilson asked Congress for and received a declaration of war. Wilson essentially had to abandon neutrality and lead America into war because of continued German aggression, and as he put it in later speeches, in order to make the world safe for democracy. And again, we are and always have been the keepers of democracy. And of course, we defend that wherever we go in the world. All right, folks, get your happy Friday dance going on, and let's wrap up this week. Get through today. And here's a brand new trivia question to do just that for August 5th. On this day in 1981, I'm old enough to remember when this happened, and I do remember very distinctly when this happened. President Ronald Reagan fires 11,359 federal workers employed in this profession after they had violated an executive order he issued that demanded they stop striking and return to work. Good luck, everybody. Have a fantastic Friday. And be safe this weekend. And thanks for all you do. Peace out.